It's like already lining up. All right. We are live. It's Dr. Rob Kilt's Carnivore Conversations with Lillie Kane. Lillie, how are you? It's so amazing. I've been watching your stuff and I've been so inspired. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you. I'm doing good. I just finished eating some bacon wrapped chicken, so I'm ready to go. And I love watching your stuff too. It always makes me smile. So I'm so happy to connect and let's do this thing.
Well, we need a lot of smiles in this world. And I was just looking at your website, and I think it's Hyper. Let's see, honor thy mind, yield thine positivity, prioritize thy sleep, exercise thine body, and reduce thy stress. Oh my God. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with this and where did you come from to get all this great stuff?
I originally for myself, when it comes to like living a healthy life, I think food is so important. And so, yes, let's work on the diet first. But I think that sometimes people will think, well, I'm eating the perfect diet, but I'm not seeing results. Well, what are you doing? I'm getting 1 hour of sleep. I'm super stressed. I don't exercise. And so you can be eating the healthiest foods, the perfect diet for you, and you still might not see results. So I kind of like to talk more about everything the whole picture to health other than just diet. And so with the hyper word, I thought it would just be unique to make like commandments, because I used to have 10 commandments that I just combined down to 5 to fit the hyper acronym, which is difficult. So if anybody tries to make acronyms, it can be challenging. But yeah, with like, for example, the second one, yield thine positivity, that is about how when you actually smile, it actually changes your mood and changes like if you're having a bad day, just go in the mirror and smile at yourself, and it might seem like a little bit silly, but it can really help change your mood and actually like impact our brain chemistry and serotonin and dopamine and all of those things. So something it's small but impactful.
The world of positivity is a little foolish, but we're a bunch of little fools, and boy, it does work tremendously. Yeah. I'm so glad. So what got you into the nutritional space and the positivity space? How did you get started in this?
I wouldn't say accidentally, but so I grew up very low income. I'm from San Diego, California, and we just grew up having a lot of top ramen and macaroni and cheese, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And then when I went to college, it was all you can eat. So I was like, oh, perfect, pecan pie for breakfast. Then we'll have a Danish and we'll have some oatmeal with some peanut butter and honey and coconut shavings, and that's breakfast. So let's see what's for lunch. And it just, my freshman year, I gained the freshman 15. I was actually pretty happy about it because I was always teased for being underweight because I felt like we just didn't have enough money to really fuel myself when I was developing. So I was always called chicken legs and too skinny. So my freshman year of college, I was like, yes, guys like girls with curves. And so I'm on the right path. Just keep doing what I'm doing. And then eventually you keep doing what you're doing and it doesn't pan out the way you want it to. So I ended up, once I graduated college in Minnesota and freezing my butt off for 4 years, I said, I'm going back to the sun where I came from, San Diego. So I moved to Maui, and that's where I met my fiancé. And he was someone who had done fruitarian, vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, paleo, done all the diets. I didn't have to test it out. And when I met him, he had already done keto and found so much healing with that, where when I showed up and said, hey, we're doing the Lillie Kane diet of pizza, quesadillas, paninis, and his health just started deteriorating, where he eventually had to get to the point and say, Lillie, initially when you first meet somebody and you first start dating them, you don't want to say, I don't eat sugar, I don't drink alcohol, I don't have fun. So I eventually, just by being around him and his health actually significantly deteriorating, he was like, I'm going to go back to being more keto, do whatever you want. You want to go and get donuts? I'll go and drive you there. And eventually it just doesn't get very fun eating sugar by yourself. So he never told me like I had to change or anything like that. It was just something where I was just so inspired by him and motivated by him and seeing his success and results and reflecting on myself and my own decisions, where I was like, I'll not buy bread this week. I'll not buy rice this month, but it's not forever. And then one thing just led to another.
So what was your undergrad degree in?
Economics.
Economics. And so did you see some use in that for where you're going here, or did it kind of feed into it? Or tell us a little bit about that part of it.
So I was a Realtor in Maui. And then when COVID hit, no one was allowed into the island for 9 months. And so we didn't know what we were going to do because we both luckily and unfortunately got to keep our jobs, but everybody else around us all lost their jobs, was getting lots of money in Hawaii. You were getting a lot of money per week. And so eventually we're like, we're not going to live here forever. So what do we want to do? So we kind of were here in St. Louis, and I just decided I wanted to start sharing my story more. I have more of a story with my background growing up being an emancipated minor, but I didn't want to do a channel focused on like emancipation and that whole aspect of my past. So I decided I wanted to make crafts and send crafts around the world to everybody. And then one thing led to another, where it turned into what's trending, what to get your fiance for Valentine's Day, what I eat in a day. Whoa, that's weird. She only eats 6 foods. And then why do you only eat these 6 foods? What about salt? Why not vegetables? How about fruit? And then I just started making content around what I eat in a day. So that's how it really started.
But how did it affect your life by going this? I mean, hyper carnivore. I mean, I've not seen it before except with you, and that's, I think, what's impressed me so much. You created such new ideas and so creative. So tell us about the hyper carnivore part.
So I initially was eating more of Dr. Ken Berry's 6 foods: the beef, bacon, butter, eggs, liver, and sardines. And I put out a video saying I only eat these 6 foods. And that video, so many people were wondering, but what about lamb? But what about having some, things that weren't in those 6 foods? And I was like, no, I can eat those things. I just didn't. And then now I do have more other animal foods. But then it got to the point too where people would say, can you have seasonings? Are you allowed to have some blueberries? Is it okay to have coffee? And things like that, where I started realizing that luckily I am somebody who doesn't have like severe autoimmune conditions or binge eating or weight challenges. So I wanted to be more of a role model for people even more my age, who they get kind of food fear. I can't have XYZ. Otherwise, what's going to happen to me? When really, let's remove the chips, the pizzas, the candies, the sodas, the alcohol. I would rather the conversation be, let's remove the processed foods and the processed sugars before all of the whole foods as well. It just is a little bit more intimidating, especially for long-term success and for sustainability. So the hyper carnivore actually came about from hearing it from, I had Dr. Ken Berry on my channel, and he called it a super carnivore. And if you type in super carnivore, it takes you straight to hyper carnivore. And then I had Dr. Sarah Salvador on my channel, and she called it a hyper carnivore. I heard it from JC Lady Carnivory. So I actually heard it from other people, and then I just kept saying it, and then just one thing led to another. But hyper carnivore, the definition is an animal whose diet is 70% or more meat for animal foods. And then the other part of their diet and the other calories come from plant foods. So for myself, I probably eat 95% animal foods. I don't do the 70%, but at least it's more of a skill and probably a little bit less intimidating for the majority of people.
It's really great. We have Lillie and Kane on today, and I'm a little in a cave, they're saying, but I'm not going to get up and change this. Can you hear me okay, Lillie?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And we are taking some questions today, so we'll make sure we have some time for some questions. It's really great to have so many people sharing today, and there's a lot of thumbs up for Lillie Kane and the amazing things she's doing. I was watching one of your Instagrams on fruits, and can you give us your comments and your story about the adventure with fruit?
Yeah, so I mean, most people know Dr. Paul Saladino. He's been making a pretty loud ruckus. I really appreciate his entertainment. And so during the summertime, it was just, there was a lot more fruit in season. And I thought, let's try it out. Let's see if if all the hype is really worth it. I actually never had a problem eating vegetables or fruits, or I never had a problem eating strict carnivore. So I actually, am not one of those people who say I'm really bored eating carnivore, or it's not sustainable, or I don't like the foods. I'm not feeling, I'm feeling low energy, or my libido's gone down, things like that. I have never experienced any cons to eating carnivore. So I said, okay, well, I'll just test out the fruit, see how that goes. For myself, I didn't notice any significant changes where I'm like, in the gym, I have more of a pump, I have more endurance, or it helped me sleep significantly better. My fiance does wear an R ring, so he does know that his sleep did improve a little bit having some fruit. But he has other things where he saw negatives with it. For myself, the negatives is when I have too much fruit or too much sugar, then I actually will have more dandruff. So I don't like having dandruff. So to me, the taste of fruit is really great, but I also really like the taste of bacon, of steak, of shrimp. So it's not to me that like, oh, I'm missing out. I wish I could have fruit. If I want to have a piece here and there, it's not that big of a deal. But I think if I have it consistently or have too much of it, it definitely does. It's not worth it to me at that point.
Well, I always remind people we have no requirement for fruits, vegetables, seeds, or nuts ever. And yes, we do like them because they make us feel good, but they're a drug. They're an opiate receptor stimulator. So, our brain likes opiate receptor stimulators. And so we're going to do everything to say we need it, but ultimately there's no need. It's just we like it. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, same with social media, same with shopping, same with having a pet, same with a lot of things. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We have very few needs truly in life. And that's, I think, the important thing. But I like the smiles and the energy. Can you talk a little bit more about positivity? We're going to kind of go in and out through this conversation because I'm just enjoying your creativity and eclectic nature. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the positive space and you share it.
So growing up, my mom and dad were both alcoholics, and then my dad, and they got a divorce. My dad ended up leaving when I was really young, so I haven't seen him since I was like 5 years old. And then my mother was still addicted to alcohol, but also a single parent at that point. So she couldn't keep a job for very long. We grew up on food stamps, and she always had different men coming into the house who were usually abusive verbally and physically. And the police were always at my house. So there's just like a lot of story behind that. But essentially, the best way that I knew how to cope with these things when I was a kid is to be positive and just to not, to like, I never found that by being sad and crying about it and going to school about it. Nobody in my school even knew this was going on because I just didn't find that made things better. Usually made people say, oh, I feel bad for you. That doesn't change what I'm in. So I just always wanted to keep myself distracted by being involved in theater and volleyball and track and field and art and just being involved in so many things to keep me distracted from what was going on in my house. But at the same time too, like I always just wanted to be the class clown, the funny one, the person who made people smile because I really wanted people to make me smile and I wanted that love too. So I just found that, you just add, I mean, not that this sounds like pretty, I don't know, egotistical, but I'm very proud of the young lady I was when I was 10, 12, 14 years old. I'm like, how did you do that? I look back and I think, that is like so to know unknown without anybody saying, give out what you want to receive.
You mentioned 10 Commandments at some point, or maybe it was in you brought it to the 5. Yeah. And so spirituality, religion, do you think did that sort of focus on your life growing up?
When I was younger, I did go to church. And I think the best part of that for me was the community aspect of it, where like everyone being in a good space and singing and just like the love and the values of just being a good person. Now I'm not as religious as I am more spiritual in the sense of just, I think that religion sometimes can have negative connotations and I would just want to always have the positive one. So if we're talking about positive and good sort of religion, sweet, let's do it. But for the most part, I just think that, we're all connected. And if we go like in more like a scientific method or scientific realm where we go into like atoms, and if we really break down that we're all at the end of the day, atoms and particles, where when we are now bones in the ground when we're passing away, and then our bones diminish into sand, and then our sand turns into maybe dirt that turns into a flower, and then the flower grows, and then the bee comes, and then and then we're all one.
We're all connected. We are one. Tell us a little bit about how people can find you. What are your social channels or your website?
I'm on YouTube, Lillie Kane, and then Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, Lillie Kane _YouTube. And then my website is just on Lillie Kane.
And we're going to put links to that here. And you are a coach certified. Tell us a little bit about your coaching and those sort of things.
So essentially, I was just making YouTube videos, and so many people kept reaching out saying, "Hey, I want to work with you. I wanted to have more of my, more detail." Because through a YouTube video, you can get a lot of information. And my whole goal is to not have anybody book with me and to just give as much free information as possible. But it is challenging if I don't know your height, your weight, your activity level, your work schedule. How long have you been eating this way? Are you on any medications? So as much as I kind of give broad general information to the public, but if you really want to have someone who can be like, okay, what is your goal? Is it to build muscle, to lose weight, to feel autoimmune? And then we can tailor and create meal plans. We can create a schedule that works more with, some people will say, I don't go to bed until 4 a.m. Well, why do you do that? Let's get you back on a real schedule. So just catering and just working with people one-on-one over Zoom. And then we make dreams and goals and realities a happier and healthier place.
And tell us a little bit about your daily habits and practice.
So I wake up and cuddle, which is a good way to start the day. And then I will take a walk. That's about 7 a.m. is when the walk starts, and it's about 15, 20 minutes. After the walk, then I go straight to the gym. And then when I get back from the gym, I'm a very structured person. So when I say like, this is what happens, like this is what happens. Then I have a glass of raw milk. And then, so that's about 9 a.m. I'm actually wearing a CGM right now. So I know that's the highest my blood sugar spikes is after the gym, fasted, drinking a glass of raw milk. And then I will make YouTube videos, or I'll be doing coaching calls, or I'll be editing videos or making a newsletter or doing something social media until about 11. Then I'll have lunch. Consists of always the same thing. I have burgers, and that's it. Carnivore crisp, salt, and butter. And then after that, we'll take a walk. Second one for the day. And then I'll do some sort of work again, social media work. And then after that, I'll have dinner around 5-ish, burgers, or bison or elk or steak or venison or lamb or shrimp or fish or something like that. And then after that, third walk for the day. And then after that, usually have some sort of dessert, raw kefir, raw yogurt. And then I will work on social media some more. After that, take a shower. And then I usually like to write out my full day's agenda because I like to put it out on paper so I don't have to think about it. And just relax, turn the lights off, have the candles going, the non-blue light emitting light bulbs, and read, listen to podcasts or something where I'm not on social media or on the screens.
What are your favorite reads or listen tos?
I really enjoy Eckhart Tolle and Dr. Joe Dispenza and Neil Donald Walsh. So mostly mindset, usually in the evening. I'm not usually as ready to listen to Ken Berry in the middle of the night when I'm getting ready to go to bed.
And we got a question here from Tony Griffith. Let's see, how many pounds of meat do you eat in a day?
So meat, I eat about 2 pounds of meat a day, but I would say 1.66 pounds is beef. So then the other part would be fish or chicken or lamb or something like that. So the total is about 2 pounds of meat, but then the majority of that is beef. And then the other part is like eggs, milk, and I just call it meat, even though it's not meat, but just throw it in.
And what's the source of your meat? Do you have any particulars? And 80-20, or what's the mix of fat to protein?
So we do care about it being 100% grass finished and organic, but our Costco stopped selling it. So we are now buying just 8812 non-organic, non-grass finished beef. And so our option's 8812, but it doesn't really matter what the percentage is.
Do you have butter as your fat mostly?
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on grass-fed, grain-fed? Do you think it really matters?
I think I would prioritize wild caught over farm raised first. And I think then do the best that you can afford with the beef. I don't think there's as significant as a difference. But of course, it's, you want to do the best that you can do. But I don't see any compelling, significant research right now. I'm not saying that's not going to change, but as of right now, I think that there's not a huge difference. But other than regeneratively speaking, I think it's really good for the environment, good for the animals. And it is a little bit better for us as well. So if you can do grass finished, I would do that, but not a huge difference.
So walking or cuddling, where do we get the most benefit? John Martinson, that was a little question there.
Well, I would say probably walking. And I would say give a hug. I think hug and cuddle, and that doesn't have to be a hug with a human. It could be with a pet. So if you cuddle a pet, cuddle a pet. But otherwise, I think walking is going to get you more movement. And I think that we can be more stagnant and we need to be more mobile. And I think that getting body movement every day is most important.
And Brenda wanted to know about chicken or pork. Do you eat those also? Because I saw one of I loved your Taco Bell video, and maybe you could share real quick. That's such a simple thing to make a tortilla.
Yeah, to make a tortilla, it's just 1 egg and 1 ounce of chicken. You blend it up, throw it in the pan, and that's a tortilla or a wrap. When people are like, it's not crunchy. Well, you can maybe make it crunchy if you put it in the air fryer. I've tried that. It doesn't come out super crunchy, but gives it a little bit more firmness. But otherwise, it makes a pretty good wrap. I do have chicken and pork. The only way I have pork really is just bacon, not necessarily ground pork. I used to do more ground pork. I just didn't feel as great having it. Similarly with ground chicken, beef makes up 85% of my calories. Chicken makes up probably 3. So it's there, but it's not an everyday thing. It's probably a once a week thing. I actually just had chicken right now, so it seems ironic, but I prefer the chicken to be pasture raised as well. I prefer that more than the grass finished beef. But I understand costs are so expensive nowadays, and I buy from a local farmer, and he just raised the prices good time. So we can get organic chicken breast with chicken. If it's a leaner piece of chicken, then I care less about it being pasture raised.
I agree with you. I don't think it matters so much. I think inexpensive beef is better than the most expensive vegetables or fruit, in my opinion, or seeds or nuts. So that's the one thing that's so important, I think. Gym workouts. Leslie had a question about what do you do in the gym? What's your routine?
So I go to the gym 5 days a week, and it's for about an hour. So 50 minutes of that is going to be heavy lifting. The last 5 to 10 minutes of each gym day is going to be abs. So just to keep it simple, for 5 days of the week, one day will be arms, chest, back, shoulders, and legs. And then each day is going to be a little bit different. For something like legs, maybe doing 5 or 6 exercises, but then something like arms, as in biceps and triceps, maybe 4 of one, 2 of the other. Something where it's 5 to 7 exercises per body part. And body part, I say legs, but it's like, okay, we got the hamstring, we got the calves, we got the glutes. So it gets nuanced, but yes, it's about an hour of heavy lifting. I can build size pretty quickly. I think just like from my dad's genetics, I can build too much muscle sometimes, where some of the comments are that she's turning into a man, and I feel bad for the gentleman who unfortunately can't keep up. So I decided I was going to lower the weight and increase my reps to get more of the tone versus the size.
I always say it's good to be able to get out of bed and you don't have to have the bulk. And ultimately, movement is the most important thing. And I agree with you. I like walking. Walking is really great. I get on my bike and, just strolling around wherever I'm riding my bike. I can do about 20 minutes on my stationary bike, and I'm always watching something inspiring like Lillie, Kane. And we need to be watching, listening to inspiring things. I love Eckhart Tolle. Conversations with God is really one of my favorites of the universe, and I think it's really critical to listen. And when you're on your walk, are you listening to anything, or are you just sort of enjoying nature?
Well, let's just be honest. So this is all with my fiance as well. We're like best friends, and we do everything together. So our walks are together. And initially, it was a thing where we tried to really be present in the moment and listen to the birds and be looking at the trees and really be in that present moment, because I think that's so much more important than talking about what the plan is for the day, because we're going to be talking about that throughout the whole entire day. But sometimes that does come up where we're talking more about like, okay, what's the next thing we got to do? Which I think, unfortunately, our society has created more of like a go, go, go kind of mentality, the rat race, try to keep up. And right now, my mother-in-law is actually here right now. So it's been nice having her to slow us down a little bit and be okay with taking our time and really enjoying things and not trying to race through life. And so many times we look back on the day, the week, and the month and say, what the heck? The month's over?
Slow, 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 slow. I think that's what you're saying. You got to go slow, and that's the best way to go, right?
Then you start with how fast I talk.
Yeah, well, it's the energy, right? It's your energy. So let's see, San Diego to Wisconsin,
Minnesota, close.
Minnesota to Maui.
Maui, yeah.
Hey, tell us a little bit about your journeys.
Yeah, so grew up, born and raised in San Diego, which is probably it's a love-hate relationship, because honestly, now that I'm kind of a baby with the winter, then I went to college in Minnesota because I was able to go for free. So it was a full ride where, sure, I'll deal with the winter. And fall is very beautiful, so I'll give it up for fall. But for everybody else who likes winter, y'all crazy. And so then I moved to Maui just because I really wanted to have more warmth and to thaw. Maui is amazing, very expensive, but it's always going to be a special place where in an ideal world, we'd be back there. But right now, things politically, and just like how everything is a little bit not as free as we would like it to be. So currently we're in St. Louis, but we'll be moving most likely to Pennsylvania here soon, where my fiance is originally from, and just to be closer to family.
So you'd be close to Kilts because I'm up in Syracuse. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. I'm the kid from LA that moved upstate New York long ago, and I do love the winters, but I do love the sun.
Yeah.
I love the mix in all of this. So let's see how to make well done. Let's see, where's this question from John? Let's see, do I have this right? I watch a YouTube on how to make well done burgers. Do you eat any raw meat?
So many people had a problem with the way we made our burgers. So let's just get this all out there with our burgers. So one of the things I showed when we make them is we press them down with a spatula. And people were saying you shouldn't press it down because you're getting all the juices out. Now you're going to have a bland, gross burger. No, my burgers are not bland and gross. They are still super juicy. But when I have too much rendered fat, like I can digest butter and ghee very well. But if I have too much rendered fat, I will run straight to the bathroom. So y'all, I did not make my burgers wrong, but then I do cook them all the way through. Mostly because like with a steak, it's not as, with steak, we just sear the outsides, the inside's very rare, but with ground beef, I do care more about, not that I think the risk is that high for having something with the bacteria, but when the meats are exposed to oxygen, then it has a higher risk for there being something with just more risk for bacteria and things. So
Yeah, I tend to eat my burgers well done, and my everything else is almost raw anyway. But I've seen so many people cook a burger just like you do, and then squish it down, and actually it's really good that way. And I've always liked it, and so I kind of did like it, and add a little cheese, some butter. I mean, I often put some blue cheese and some butter on it, and it's always the best. And do you take the grease from the pan and put it back on, or you don't because that's like right out, right?
yeah.
And that's really a good point because so many people have problems with the high fat and diarrhea and things like that. So switching it out for butter. Do you have any other animal fats that you tolerate well enough that you use instead?
So, I mean, for cooking wise, we've cooked with tallow and with duck fat and with bacon grease, but the taste of butter is just better. So we usually we have two different kinds of bacon. We call one healthy bacon and one naughty bacon. So the healthy bacon's from our local farmer, which is the ingredients are literally pasture raised pork, water, salt. So with that one, we'll save the bacon grease for that one and use it to cook like the chicken or to cook. That's pretty much the only, maybe fish, but otherwise with our burgers, we don't have to add extra fat when we're cooking them. So the only other time we'd be having more fat is if we add it on top of our food after it's been cooked, in which case I'm not going to be eating spoonfuls of bacon grease or tallow. So I will, 99% of the time it's butter, but we do have ghee in the house too. And I like to mix the ghee in with my sardines.
So in counseling your clients, do you mostly direct them to the hyper carnivore, the carnivore, the keto? Where do you sort of play with that?
It really depends on the person and what their goal is. And people are more honest when you're talking like one-on-one too. So if you're like, okay, realistically, are you going to do this or this? But if someone's, a lot of people come for weight loss, and I think that a carnivore diet can be great for weight loss, but I think the biggest thing for weight loss is sustainability. So if you're going to do it for a week, and you're not going to see all of your weight loss goals in a week. So if you need to add in a little piece of broccoli and that's going to keep you happy, then let's do that. I think the fruit tends to be a little bit harder for most people just because it has that sweet factor that for many people, the reason we got into this mess is because we just, the cycle continues. So we have that piece of fruit turns into a piece of chocolate, turns into a piece of apple strudel, whatever. That was the most random thing I could have thought of. But so most people, it's avoiding the fruit. But and then I let people on their own decide that vegetables are gross.
How so?
Most people, they don't really care to have the Brussels sprouts and the asparagus and the spinach and the farts. So they just initially say, yeah, you want to have some cauliflower rice? Do that. And then eventually they're like, it's bland. It doesn't taste like anything. It makes me have smelly farts. Okay, great. On your own, you decided that. And I think it's better as a coach for myself to just give people I don't teach the man, I don't give the fish, I teach them how to fish.
And so the directive between keto, I guess it's really omnivore versus carnivore. And, that's the one thing I think we forget. Carnivores eat almost no plants and
Mhm.
omnivores eat. And so, I would put 20% carbs in an omnivore group, and really maybe carnivore is 95.5 or something like that. But we're still making it up. I mean, lions, I'm not sure they eat much grass or grains. And human beings, we do like to treat and reward ourselves. So tell us a little about your treats and rewards. Yours personally, and maybe kind of what you recommend to your clients.
Well, recommending to other people a treat or reward is maybe cheese, but also a piece of fruit if that's what they want to do. So people will ask me, "Hey, my birthday's coming up. What should I do?" Like, well, what I love doing, that tastes amazing, is having raw yogurt. Maybe having you want to add some cinnamon, add some cinnamon. But I love the raw yogurt, and if you blend it with a berry, and you can turn it into an ice cream if that's what people need. And initially, when I first started eating more keto, low carb, carnivore, I had Rebel ice cream, which I think is probably the better option for ice cream if someone's going to go down that road. And I used to make keto Oreos and keto brownies and things like that. But I think eventually, the longer you continue to eat this way, the easier it is for you to say, I don't really care to have that anymore. So I think, as I want to give people the ability to choose and to have as much flexibility as possible versus putting people in like a box or saying, you can't have this is the rules. Because as humans, we don't like to do things for very long that we don't like to do, and we don't like following the rules. So by being very relaxed and flexible, hey, yeah, if you want to have some Rebel ice cream, and have it. And then people will tell me it was too sweet. I didn't even enjoy it because it was too sweet. So our taste buds change and our preferences change as well. So my treat for myself is a piece of fruit.
And do you think every day is okay?
I think it depends on the person. I think that there are people who have diabetes who eat a piece of fruit every single day and reverse their diabetes eating a piece of fruit every day. So I can't tell you why some people can reverse their fatty liver disease eating fruit every day versus other people. So I personally don't recommend people who have liver problems or diabetes to have sugars and have fruit. I think my concern is less with the sugar and more with the fructose. But yeah, I mean, my option, if someone's going to choose between having Oreos and chips and cookies, I want you to have a piece of fruit. But otherwise, if you don't need it, then you don't need it.
It's interesting. 99% of plants are unedible, and 99% of animals are edible. Anaphylactic reactions do not happen when you eat red meat or fatty meat or chicken even, but I don't recommend it. But it does happen if you're eating plants. And fruits and nuts are one of the most antigenic, inflammatory things you can eat. Interesting enough, I always say simple sugars are better from time to time than fruits and vegetables or seeds and nuts, because that's when you get the anaphylactic reactions, which are the things that kill people. And they're rare, thankfully, but it's a chronic inflammation that gets people. And sometimes it takes years to develop. It's kind of like things happen under the surface. We don't know. And that's why I think honey or fruits or vegetables or every day, and even Kiltz's ice cream. Now you can do my Kiltz's ice cream without sugar completely. Mm-hmm. It's fat. You could add some butter and eggs, and boy, that's the best. And it's amazing. But a little bit of you mentioned kefir, raw milk, and yogurt. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about timing of food and fasting, and should you have one big meal and small meals, or what are your thoughts in your coaching?
My thoughts with OMAD is, if someone's going to do it, I need you to be eating enough calories. Otherwise, I think that a lot of people I think like time saving wise, sure, we can say autophagy wise, but for the most part, I would say I would rather someone do 2 meals or 3 meals versus the one. And then depending on what someone's goal is. So if someone's goal is to build more, gain more weight, build more muscle, splitting up 3 meals is going to be a little bit easier because you can get a little bit more calories versus the 2 meals. And even from my own experience, when I was doing 2 meals in a day, which I was like, intermittent fasting train, this is the way to go. And that was one of my 10 commandments for a while, was intermittent fasting. But I think I think I've seen more results, even just personally for my own self, to do it with 3 meals. And I think even if someone wanted to do it with 6 meals, they could do it that way too. I noticed with my CGM too that I did 100 purposefully yesterday. I ate 100 grams of protein in one sitting to see how that would react with my blood sugars. Nothing happened. So it doesn't seem to make a difference if you're going to break that protein up into 20 grams of protein 5 times, or if you want to do it one time for 100. But I just think, depending on someone's goal, if they want to do weight loss, sure, we can do an OMAD, but I really wouldn't do it for too long, because I think the longer we fast, the longer we can maybe perpetuate hormonal imbalances and start affecting our thyroid.
So our human habits, that's, I guess, how do you work on people's habits and making those, giving them the motivation to make the changes?
Well, it all starts with the why. Why are you doing this? Why are you coming to me? Why are you wanting help with your health? Because sometimes people will say, I can't stop reaching for the cookies. Okay, well, why are you reaching for the cookies? Is it because you're hungry? Then you didn't eat enough at your other meal. Is it because you're bored? Then what else can you do? Can you play a game? Can you journal? Can you do something else? Is it because you're stressed? Can we meditate? Can we call a friend? Can we take a walk? Is it because, so there's different reasons why people are reaching for those things, and getting closer to that why, and then uncovering, oh, it's because of my childhood trauma, or it's because of XYZ. So I really like to drill in people the habit of whatever it is that they're trying to break, or to the new habit they want to become, to embody that new person. And anytime they kind of are steering away from what they want, asking themselves, is this helping me reach my goal? You said that you wanted to be around for your grandkids. You said that you wanted to be able to travel the world and be able to not have somebody help you out of your wheelchair and get you out of bed. So if you really want that, is the cookie going to help with that? You know the answer. You don't need me to tell you.
And advice for going to parties or anniversaries, events like that. What's your guidelines and directions and help with that?
Well, for myself, it's very easy because everyone knows the situation. But I understand that for other people, I think the easiest way to do it is just not to bring attention to yourself. So if you're going out to eat, I personally am not telling the waiter, don't put the broccoli on my plate, don't put the potatoes, don't bring the bread to the table, depending on the situation. I mean, I don't want them to waste the food either. So sometimes I'm like, hey, we're not going to eat the bread, don't bring it. But I think I would rather just put the whole steak with all the stuff around it, and then I can push it to the sides and not make it that big of a deal, so that the attention's not focused on me, and I'm being so. People get embarrassed about it, and so people really reflect on themselves when you're around someone else. So if I'm the one eating healthy and you're not, then you are going to start feeling bad about yourself, and then you're going to start maybe feeling weird around me. And I don't want. I've lost friends from the way that I eat. And I don't want that for other people. And I don't want other people to feel uncomfortable. So I think if you're going to a social event, there's always options. I know that seems to be like the common question I'm asked is, well, what do I order when I go out to eat? Chicken, steak, eggs, the things that you eat at home. If it comes with a tortilla, throw it on the side. But I think we can sometimes make it seem like it's a bigger deal than it really is. And at the party, they're going to have a cheese platter. At the party, they're going to have pepperonis. So there's always something to eat. And if there's not, then you can eat beforehand or know how to fast.
And use the crust of the pizza as your plate, and eat the cheese and the pepperoni, and
Yeah.
you can do well with that, because that's one of my things that I love to do when we have lunch at the office with pizza and stuff. And what about coffee, tea, and alcohol? What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are probably very different than your thoughts. But with alcohol, I think that it poisons every single organ in your body. So as far as do I think it's health promoting? No. Do I do it? Maybe one time a year. We're gonna get married in 6 months, so the plan is that we're gonna drink. It's like a big deal. Oh my gosh. So I think, do I know it's bad for me? Yes. Am I still gonna do it? Yeah, probably. So we do it one time a year because I don't like the taste. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like a lot of how expensive it is. So alcohol, yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not healthy. Tea and coffee, I personally don't like the taste. I never have. So it's never been something where I've even had to really think too much about it. But this is where I think that we would disagree, is with coffee at least. from different research and things I've seen, and Dr. Rimko would say similarly that she has just seen so much evidence saying that it's anti-cancer, it's really good for longevity, like there's all the health benefits. But I think that's the same way with everything. If you want to know the health benefits to pistachios, I can find them. If you want to know the health benefits to a lemon, let's talk about it. But I personally don't think it's necessary, especially when you have so much energy. Why do you need the coffee? Is it because a lot of people now, especially in the carnivore space too, like they don't need the coffee for energy. They might like it for the taste or for the social aspect, but again, there's other things that you can eat that taste really good, and you can still socialize without those things as well. So
I've been addicted to coffee for let's see, 55 years. I'm 66, long time. I've been off coffee now for 3 months, and I've never felt better. It sits on my desk, a coffee maker. I make coffee for others. I don't need it, don't touch it, no caffeine, and so I agree with you because I would always find the health benefits, but those health benefits are a drug to overcome some other drugs. So ultimately, we're taking all the depressants, and the antidepressant effect of coffee makes us feel good. So it's just another drug for sure. I agree.
That's good to hear that you're feeling better, because I know initially when my fiance stopped having coffee, he was like, the first month was the Grumposaurus Rex.
This time, and I've done it before, but I've never sort of like just, and I've been sort of coached by Cherish and Raymond and that Steak and Butter Gal, and just because I'm inspired by so many people like yourself that take us off of one road and put us on another. And that's what this journey is all about. I've been in medicine for 40 years. And I've never been as inspired by anyone than the carnivore people. And the keto's great, and I love the keto. And but ultimately, the carnivore is like the holy grail. It is like the thing that drives us, and that's so amazing. And tell us a little bit about the people who inspired you and how you sort of like just leapt in all the way.
Well, initially, the person who wow, okay, where do I really initially? Every time I say this person, then people are like, "Are you serious?" Dr. Gundry initially was the first person to get me on my road, and I actually find a lot of people have a similar experience where they read the plant paradox or they read the energy paradox, and I used to take that list with me to the grocery store and find the low lectin foods. Meanwhile, I'm getting all the high oxalate foods instead. So I initially was inspired by Dr. Gundry's work, and he is someone who's going to say with fruit, if you have a serving of grapes, that's similar to eating a donut. So initially it was inspired by Dr. Gundry, but originally it was all because of my fiance showing me these things and teaching me these ways. And he was first inspired by Keto Savage Robert Sykes. So Jason Whitrock, the Blood Sugar King, and Thomas DeLauer. So just being in the bodybuilding space, was always attracted to having more muscle, but thought that because you need to have carbs to build muscle, that he watched those guys for a long time before he's like, okay, I think that they're being serious. You don't actually need carbs. And then he took that leap and that plunge and still able to make me this physique. And so those are the people who, when I first think about who's inspired us, I think of Robert Sykes, Dr. Gundry first.
Carnivore Savage, and I did read the Plant Paradox long ago, and Wade Davis and David Perlmutter, and so many others that I've been Diet Doctor Andres Cienfeld long ago, George Eade. I mean, there's just so many amazing people in this, and that were Gary Tobbs wrote Good Calories, Bad Calories, and I learned from my patients who were getting pregnant on this thing called paleo, and I'm like, okay, what's paleo diet? And it's we basically learned the food pyramid, and that's nutrition in the world for medicine for everyone. A certified nutritionist in America is a plant-based directive.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your coaching certificate. Can you share a little bit about your directive there and keto coaching and things like that, and where you got that?
So originally, I looked like you said so to become a dietitian, you cannot talk about keto or carnivore. Like I asked about keto when I talked to them. I didn't go to the carnivore route because I was like, if we can get a yes to keto, then I can ask the carnivore question. But keto was already a no-go unless you have epilepsy. So yeah, the options of like paying a lot of money to become a dietitian where you have to promote the food pyramid. And I've spoken with dietitian Michelle Hearn, who can't continue to give that kind of recommendations to people. So it just doesn't become worth it to do that. And then the other option is a nutrition therapy practitioner, which is like Judy Cho. And that is something that I will probably also continue to do. And I will get that certification as well. But otherwise, there's so many, like health coach Kate. There's so many different ways to get a health coach certification, which honestly, I think the majority of information that anybody needs to ever learn is on YouTube for free. So to say that I know so much significant information from this coaching program that I did, I learned more on YouTube than through this coaching program, where I just did the certification just to say I'm certified. But in reality, I didn't learn anything more new other than like, you want to make sure to ask about the DISC personality test and make sure it's more of like how to talk to people, which I already did.
You've done that before, but it's interesting. Over COVID, medical school now is completely online, YouTube, and basically, I went to medical school 81, 84. You had to be accepted to medical school in order to get into the library to get the journals and all the instruction. Without that, you just couldn't get it. Today, you can get more and more and more all online without paying the money to go to medical school. And health and wellness is really in each individual's hands today.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to go see a doctor to get real, honest health and wellness information.
Right.
Any pushbacks in the fields that have you had any pushbacks in any areas that you've kind of gone down this road and there's a roadblock and you like turned around or did something different, or what have been your biggest challenges, I guess, in this space?
I would say my biggest challenge is connecting with other social media influencers. I think that something that I've at least been learning about myself and something that I want to change for like the way that people perceive me is, I'll be honest, I think people need to have more fun in their life. But I know that sometimes people will see my content and it comes off a little bit more immature. So I'm very lucky that I've had a lot of people come onto my channel and say yes. But I think my biggest challenge is I would like to be invited onto other people's as well, because I just can tell that is something where I'm more immature or still not as fully developed into the woman who more people would like to see. So it's the challenge is finding the balance between making content that I think is fun and exciting and keeps people engaged, because I don't want to be the boring, dry, scientific. Like I want to be able to be more relatable. And so that's the biggest challenge is finding the balance between having fun, but also keeping it mature enough where they are having health challenges. So that is something serious. So let's be serious when we talk about those things too.
Youth, creative, right? Lots of youthful and creative things.
Yep.
And so maybe that's the part that as we age, we lose the ability to be free. Mm-hmm. And because we're worried what will people think of us, right? And I sound like I'm in a cave. I apologize for that. I am kind of in a cave. I'm in my basement of my house. It's like a cave.
Your lighting is great.
Thank you. Well, I work at the lighting and I do all this myself. It's really kind of fun. This is the creative part of this space because I love, so many amazing people in the social media space that are so creative and a little crazy. And I think that's what adds to the fun of this. We're looking for some serious and really solid advice. My bias is that we don't need sugar to be eaten and carbohydrates ever. We love them, and sugar is never the energy; it's always fat. But this is a good conversation, and that's stability. We're going all sorts of different ways. But if we all went the same way, we'd have nothing to talk about.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's so fun having conversations with different people and hearing different things. Like for example, one person who I was talking to, they said that they were a gentleman and they said, I don't need to wash my hair anymore. So I don't wash my hair. And then I told my fiance, I said, why do you wash your hair? He says, I don't know. I guess I never considered it before. So I had to reach back out to that person and say, hey, thanks. It's been 6 months now that he hasn't washed his hair and he wanted to say thank you because he didn't realize that was an option. Something commonsensical that we sometimes forget is common sense until we have a conversation.
Where does your fiance fall in all this stuff with you? And I've seen him on a few videos, and you guys have conversations. And where's your future in the conversation of carnivore and hyper carnivore and stuff?
Um, yeah, so he, like I said, he's done all the different kinds of diets and things. So he's definitely, and he's 9 years older than me too. So wiser, but he says that life has humbled him many times where he thought when he was getting into the fruitarian space when he was my age that they all said that that is the healthiest, the best way for longevity. It's an amazing, the diet everyone needs to do is be a fruitarian. And after just a few months of doing that, no, that was not the answer. And then okay, well, maybe I have to add the vegetables back in, so I should be a vegan. So, and then you get into that world, and that space, and that community, and you start really believing everything, and that you're doing what's best for your health, for the environment, for the animals, for everything. So he has said that so many times he has felt so certain in his life, and then has been humbled. So right now with his health, like that's what our goal is to just be healthy. So I don't really care if I'm not eating the certain rules or so and so. I'm not supposed to be having X, Y, Z. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what makes me feel the healthiest. So currently, he does have some fruit in his diet, but when the winter comes, he's going to remove it. He's going to be strict carnivore because that's just the season's not going to be, we're not going to have access to it. So it's kind of where we're at is the animal foods have every vitamin and mineral you could ever need. So eat animal foods, and then if you can tolerate other things that works for you and you want to do it and find joy in it, and the pros outweigh the cons. So while you may say, sure, having some honey or some fruit or something damages your health in this way, what about your mental health, your social life, the way that you think that it makes you feel better in the gym? For myself, I don't think that way, but I know other people do. There's other pros and cons versus just the actual health aspect of it, but the social environment, the mental part of it. So like when we go traveling, if we go to Italy or somewhere where I want to have a pizza, I don't have pizza, I don't eat grains, but I'm traveling, I'm gonna make a memory, and it's gonna be one time in 10 years.
Yeah, I think the carbohydrates, even the pizza bread, I do sourdough if I'm going to do it, and it's a ton of butter, but I don't do it very often. I think again that from time to time is mostly okay unless you happen to have an anaphylactic reaction.
Yeah.
That's where the sort of the question comes. And anaphylactic reactions can happen without warning, and that's the interesting part. My daughter would die to a banana and avocado. And again, I know my partner had an anaphylactic reaction to crab, and she'd eaten crab many times. And so the part we don't understand is the why and when, and that's it. And let's see, what have we touched on? Sleep and rest.
Sleep is the most important thing that I prioritize every single day. So more so than food, I actually prioritize my sleep the most. So some of the things that I do to maximize my sleep is one, getting that morning exposure to daylight to help reset our circadian rhythm so our bodies start producing melatonin at the right times. I also will get off all the, other than tonight, electronics a couple hours before bed. I will we have the non-blue light emitting light bulbs, turn on candles, we'll massage, listen to something, journal, read, plan out the next day, do things to calm the body down and to get our minds more settled. I'll be honest, I'll take it to the extreme. I'll open the refrigerator to get some water and I'll close my eyes. I try to light touch me, but I don't think it really matters if your eyes touch it, if your skin touches it, no matter what. I think it still impacts you if you have some light on you. But taking a warm shower and just finding some peace when it gets closer to bedtime, not having your meals super late at night, so finishing your meals a couple hours before bed's really helpful as well. And we have a weighted blanket, we have a cooling sheet, we have a grounding sheet. We keep our room at 63 degrees. We put a piece of cardboard in the window so not a single drop of light comes in. We put tape all over on the little lights. And so a quiet room, a dark room, a cold room, sleep good.
Naps?
I think if someone has the chance to take a nap, that is great. I am pretty busy, so I usually don't take a nap. But if you could, do it.
Most carnivores actually nap a tremendous amount and sleep much more. If you look at your dogs and cats, they're taking a nap. And I think when we can get to the point we're doing it, even in our busy days, we take that moment to take the nap. It resets the synapses and it's such an important thing to do. Any other things that I haven't brought to light here?
Maybe just, I know for hyper, the R is reduced chemicals, and what it means by that is things like, so I'm not perfect. And this is something I learned from Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride that really brought it up to my attention, where she was saying that women put on a lot of makeup. So I don't actually paint my nails ever since her, but I do have eyeliner and mascara on, but I'm going on the ewg.org website, typing in mascara and seeing what's the least toxic, least chemical, least cancerous products. Things like sunscreen, I don't do sunscreen. Then like with soaps, if you could do a towel bar soap, or with your laundry detergent. And it seems like a lot, and it seems very overwhelming for people. And we, like I said, we're definitely not perfect. My clothes aren't all 100% organic cotton or 100% organic hemp. So I think that when we initially just started being more cautious and aware that there are so many chemicals exposed to us every single day in different products that we have in the house, if you can just make one change a month or one change whenever your budget permits, then get the 100% organic cotton sheets. So at least when you're sleeping for 8.5 hours, you're still sleeping in something a little bit better than some of those plastics or fire retardants. And so there's a lot of chemicals in this world, and I get a lot of backlash for the chemicals things because people will say there's chemicals in everything. Don't be dramatic. Yeah, there's chemicals in everything. That's why we should limit some of them. So just being aware of those things.
I take cold showers and I don't use soap very often. Once in a while, it's like, okay, better use soap today, but that's a rarity. I agree with you. I think the many makeup and many things that we all use, and our deodorants and our toothpaste and things like that, that we don't need in our body. And I think it's quite amazing. What's your sort of your agenda, the sort of the dream of Lillie Kane and your social media and coaching and things?
I mean, I just want to reach as many people as possible. So actually, my whole channel all started initially just to bring more joy. So my whole goal is not to make people healthier. My joy is to make you happier. But unfortunately, it's really hard to be happy if you're not healthy. So we have to work on your health. So that is where the goal is of course, to just bring as much light and joy to the sometimes dark world, especially like during the COVID times. That's when I started my channel. And so I see it like very often as well, too. Like there are and you read the comments and the things that people write on your videos and things like that, where you can't help but question, like, I'm being so, I'm not coming in anybody's life. I'm being so positive and joyous, and just like to see the negative comments really shows that there's so much negativity in this world, and especially cyberbullying or just being glued to our cell phones and comparing ourselves to others, that if I can just keep spreading joy each day, then I think that that's me doing my part. And it just makes it can impact so many people. And if I can make you happy, and then you're going to go and make so-and-so happy, then it's a domino effect, and we can really live in as cliche as it sounds, a really happy and a better place if we're spreading our light versus spreading the negativity.
My sister had diabetes since age 4, and she was massively ill forever, but she was always happy. And so the one kind of interesting part, that's why I love where you're coming from, the positivity. We're all going to die. And my best friend Dave, diagnosed with cancer, and I talked to him, and he says, God's got this. And he died 3 months later, but not one time did he ever complain or get angry. It's the truth is that illness will come to all of us. Mm-hmm. So the quest for health is maybe that's part of our problem. And that's why vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, carnivore, it doesn't matter. And that's why it really is, welcome everyone in. And I love your energy, and it's where's everyone individually coming from? That's what this is really about. Where are you coming from? What are your needs? And if you have certain diseases, there may be some certain things you can do to eliminate the toxins, as you said, and the foods that may be part of the problem, and all of this. And what's been let's see, I think where do people find you once again?
I'm on YouTube, Lillie Kane, and then on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, Lillie Kane _YouTube. It's a website that's on all those channels as well, where you can book a coaching call if you're interested, or just look at on my website too. There's some of the books I read, some of the products that we use that have less chemicals. So hopefully that could just be a tool that you can use to find some value and bring more, not only health, but of course joy to your day as well.
And so it's all health and wellness, but it's really a positive attitude that will drive your true health and wellness. Because you mentioned just smiling. And I see doing mirror work. I love you. I love you. And the smiles, it's so critical. Listen to positive. And you go to Lillie Kane, and we'll have links for Lillie Kane. But again, just Google Lillie Kane. You're going to find her. You're going to be inspired by her videos and her coaching and her joy in life. And I just, again, really want to thank you for being with us today. And there again, thank you to everyone on. And I do have a deep voice. I guess I'm always in the cave a little bit, but we'll work on that with Malcolm and everyone. So again, thank you. If you're not, let's see, we're going to be at the Keto Symposium, New York City, tomorrow evening and Saturday. So be there, Lincoln Center. And thank you everyone for joining. Dr. Rob Kills. We'll see you 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do Saturday or Sunday yet, but we'll see. So thanks, everyone. God bless. Thanks, Lillie.
Thank you.